И, соответственно, вот
Уважаемые коллеги, добрый день. Мы рады приветствовать вас. У некоторых зарубежных коллег
Good
возникли
afternoon, dear colleagues. Some of our foreign colleagues had some issues with the connection. Please wait for a while. We're going to start soon.
Итак, добрый день, уважаемые гости, участники и слушатели. От имени
Greetings, dear guests and listeners. On behalf of National Library of Russia, I'm happy to greet you at the seminar Guided Tours of Libraries. My name is Fedor Korkin. I am the moderator of today's seminar. First, organizational moments. We are working live with simultaneous translation on YouTube. In the chat of our conference, you can see the link to the live of our seminar on YouTube in English and Russian. We would be happy if you shared this link with your colleagues would be interested. To deliver a presentation during your speech, please use screen demonstration screen. Then click the button on the lower panel in Zoom and click Share. Should you have any issues with sound, image, or interpretation, please contact us immediately. Our conference program might be subject to some changes. We are now ready to start. We are happy to present a little presentation clip about Russian National Library.
Так, спасибо. И сейчас мне хотелось бы уже представить
Thank you.
нашего
Now I would like to present with the first speaker. This is Yulia Kuznechikova, and she is the specialist of the Department of International and Organization Activities of the National Library of Russia. And her topic is For the Common Good, Tours of the country's first public library. Thank you, Fyodor Yurovich. Good afternoon, dear participants of the seminar and dear colleagues. My name is Yulia Kuznechkova. I am the specialist in the Department of International and Organizational Activities of the National Library of Russia and conduct guided tours of the library. An important task of a modern library is the preservation, popularization of the world cultural heritage. The users can not only use the library's funds, but also contact the electronic resources. In my presentation, I would like you to deliver diversity of excursions that are realized currently, talk about the tours in our library, and then go on to the perspectives of development of this topic in the future. The traditions of conducting tours of libraries dates back to the 19th century. The library was founded by Empress Catherine the Great in 1795. It was founded for the benefit of the general public or for the common good. Initially, it was supposed to serve as a temple of enlightenment and preserve handwritten and written sources for future generations. The founders raised the issue of the importance of presenting it to the public the book collection stored in the National Treasure. In the middle of 19th century, Modesta, the director of the library, allowed the expansion of the tours, and they organized exhibitions on a large scale. Today, we are striving to continue traditions formed in our library and are working to develop these activities. We are highly respect the users and our colleagues. We're always trying to keep the room silent and ask our visitors not to take any pictures. We also would try to preserve the book and the monuments, the exhibits that we watch during the excursions. And we note to all of our guests and visitors about the rules of our library. We accept applications by post and by phone. We also have diverse partnerships. For most of our partners, this is a new format. And for most of our partners, we are conducting tours, not only for them, but also for the excursion agencies. And now I would like to present our excursion programs. I would like to start with our general excursions in the library. This format is one of the most popular, and it is the one that we recommend our users to start familiarizing with. One of the main things is that our library is located in the center of St. Petersburg. The main tour is about 90 minutes, and it includes the visit of reading rooms, for example, Russian National Fund, Walter's Library, and Faust's Cabinet. We also have on a regular basis the tours to the new building, which is located on the main Moskovsky Prospect. It was founded in 2003 and it became one of the largest library complexes in Europe. We're now conducting general tours in the new building. They take about 60-90 minutes. And during this program, guests familiarize themselves with the history of the library, with the construction, notice how transporting system is organized, the fund of Asia and Africa, microcopies, and other reading rooms and collections. Besides general tours, we also have thematic tours. Among them, I would like to mention the most popular, and it is the one where we look at the cabinet by Faust. It is made in the atmosphere of medieval history. This program takes up about 60 minutes, and the visitors may look at some unique exhibits and the interests, the incunabulous, rare printed books, some masterpieces that I would like to mention is Peter Stislavets, and the book by him, which is the first published in Russia in 1554, and other book published in the 15th century. The Voltaire's library is another popular excursion. It is the library of French philosopher Voltaire, who lived in the 18th century. It was bought by the Russian Empress Catherine the Great. It has 6,814 volumes. It can be called without exaggeration a treasure of world significance of the Russian National Library. As part of the tour, which lasts for 60 minutes, the keepers of Voltaire Library present to the guest the most significant books and manuscripts for the collection of the French philosopher, the unique manuscripts from the Voltaire's library, and the most significant books and manuscripts from the collection. Another popular thematic excursion is the Department of Prints and Photographs. It takes about 90 minutes. It is devoted to various techniques of printed graphics, on the example of prints of the 15th, early 21st century. It examines the sheets of outstanding masters, for example, Albrecht Dürer, Coraci, and others. It is worth mentioning the cartography department of the Russian National Library and the excursions organized there. It takes 90 minutes, and guests can see the unique atlas. For example, the only atlas of the world in Russia, made in the 19th century. Besides thematic excursions, we pay special attention to the organization of children's programs. We have a general tour for children, which are walks that take about 60 minutes around the library. When preparing for these programs, we pay attention on the age group, some peculiarities with working in children groups, and we interact with them during the story. We ask them questions and ask them what they think, conduct a reflection at the end of the program. Of course, it is very important to popularize reading among younger generation, and they are really interested to know about the profession of the librarian. Our younger students may enjoy tours in the format of games. It is called Walking Through the Library with Krylov's Fables. It is a new program, and during it, we offer children to walk around the library, solve some riddles, and perform certain tasks based on the fables of Ivan Krylov, a famous Russian fabulist. The choice of the topic is not accidental. This outstanding Russian writer used to work in the Imperial Public Library. And finally, our third development is a children's complex excursion. It includes two components: a child sightseeing tour and a lesson in the Department of Prints and Photographs. It takes 90 minutes or 2 hours, and it can be done in 2 days. This excursion could be tailored to different age groups because the Department of Prints and Photographs has a huge variety of different games and activities. For example, students aged 6 to 10 years old are offered a lesson dedicated to the Russian fairy tale. In this, children are presented copies of children's prints and games with the fairy tale characters. And they could hear how, with the help of form, color, and rhythm, artists of the 20th century created villains and good fairy tale characters. For children aged 11, 14 years old, we have prepared also some interesting programs. Some picturesque engravings of the 19th century, the capitals of the world in printed graphics, where children could see the images of 18th, 19th centuries of the capitals. And finally, for high school age, we offer the lesson by an outstanding Russian artist, Shishkin. While developing new programs, we also aim for some thematic excursions dedicated to highly acclaimed personalities who worked in the library. For example, Vladimir Lenin in public and Mr. Goal, Georgy Duperon, the founder of football in Russia. As for Lenin in the public library excursion, it is dedicated to the relations of Lenin and the library. The collections he read are still stored in our library. And as for the collection dedicated to George Duperon, it takes about 45-60 minutes, and it is dedicated to the founder of football in Russia. He used to work in Imperial Public Library, and he was a football enthusiast and a librarian. As part of this program, guests could see the books that are stored in National Library of Russia, published by Duperon, and some sports magazines. The football team of St. Petersburg, Zenit, provided exhibits specifically for these excursions. This program is capable of popularizing both sports and reading, and it is supposed to be an important, inspiring program for both adults and children and football enthusiasts. Another peculiar tour that we are conducting is the Tasting in Enlightenment Era. During this program, the guests could visit the Metropole restaurant on a contractual basis. During the gastronomic part, the guests could feel the dishes inspired by 18th century and listen to the guides about the Enlightenment epoch and about Catherine the Great, the dishes she favorited, and would familiarize themselves with the biography of Voltaire. Then the participants go to Voltaire's library, where they are presented the collection of manuscripts and exhibits from Voltaire's collection. For example, his love letters to Emilia du Chaillu. In conclusion, I would like to say that we possess a variety of excursions and programs tailored to our guests and users. We are looking forward to the development of excursion programs, the development of exclusive tours, both in the old and new building of National Library. Besides, we would like to improve our partnerships and maintain contact to attract new visitors. We would also love to share contacts with our colleagues, with other libraries, and take part in future seminars. So this meeting is very important to us. Thank you for your attention. And I would also love to say that today the guided tours in the National Library of Russia is highly perspective, and we try to develop it and enrich our collection, and we pay special attention to its development. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Yulia, for your information-packed presentation. And now I would like to invite our next guest from the National Library of Belarus. Lyudmila Komarovskaya is the head of the Excursion and Methodology Department of the National Library of Belarus. Greetings, dear participants of this seminar. I would like to thank the organizers and to further for the opportunity to take part in this seminar. It is an honor to talk about the guided tours in Belarus. My presentation is connected with the excursion activities in the space of National Library of Belarus. The National Library of Belarus is one of the largest tourist sites of the Republic of Belarus. The peculiar shape of the library building, the originality of the interior decoration, information opportunities, technologies, and comfort is what attracts the users, and not only from the residents of our country, but also the guests from near and far abroad. Excursions began to be held in the old library building. They were focused on familiarizing readers with its capabilities. The upper image shows the old building where the library was located since the 1936 or and this building was also supposed to have a book museum, but unfortunately this idea was not implemented, and the guided tours and lectures were held in the reading room of a handwritten, old printed and rare book for future philologists and historians. Construction of a new building in the early 2000s by architects Vinogradov and Kramarenko contributed to raising all spheres of the library's activities to a qualitatively new level, expanding its functions as the main information and socio-cultural center. One of the most important areas of the library is social cultural activity. Its design was carried out in accordance with the concept of creating a Republican information and socio-cultural center on the basis of the building of the state institution National Library of Belarus. It was fixed by the charter of the state institution National Library of Belarus. These documents determine the directions of innovative development of the library, the expansion of its functions and tasks as a multifunctional hub. The main task of the library's socio-cultural activities is the formation of information and spreading the awareness and educational, cultural, and creative, also recreational needs and interests of library. We have identified the following priority areas: cultural and entertainment, gallery and exhibition, museum, sightseeing, advertising, physical culture, and recreation. The most important role in the formation of a positive image of the library, the popularization of the cultural heritage of our country among various target audiences, belongs to excursion activities. Already at the construction stage of the new library building, it became clear that its unusual shape, exterior and interior design would attract the attention of not only its users, but also tourists. Excursions in the new library building began to be conducted from the first minutes of its opening. The guests visited 3 floors and temporary exhibitions of art galleries. In September 2006, the Book Museum started functioning. It was included in the excursion route. Book exhibitions were also offered to the attention of the tourists, which are located in the ring corridors. For 15 years, the excursion activity has been improved and transformed. Today, the library hosts more than 30 types of excursions, in the development and conduct of which a differentiated approach is applied. The age of the target audience, the peculiarities of information perception, and the purpose of the visit, everything of that is taken into account. In total, during the period of 2006 and 2012 and January-July 2023, about 800,000 people visited the library as part of more than 53,000 excursion groups, excluding tourists from the observation deck. More than 45,000 people visit the library each year as part of more than 3,000 groups. In addition, the age composition of the excursion groups has also changed. Immediately after the opening of the new library building, the main category were tourists of young and older age that constituted 53%, but now the main category are teenagers, 78%, mostly pupils and students. This is due to the fact that initially students from the age of 12 were taken on excursions. However, with the introduction of changes to the rules of the excursion service of the library about the age of tourists from 7 years, and with the introduction of excursions visiting the library and visiting the book treasury, the age of tourists began to change. Library tours are always aimed at solving the current problems of modern society. Over the past 5 years, educational excursions Slavuta Imena Batkovny, an interactive tour, revived books, a quest tour in search of the legacy of Francis Carina, and others have been developed. Today, libraries face a difficult task: to captivate a child with reading and attract the whole family to the library. For this purpose, an interactive tour, Revived Books, have been developed, during which gadgets familiar to modern children and traditional books are combined. We could see how the children itself order books, they see them being transported, and they are enjoying reading it. And after them, they could look at the evolution of the book in the book museum. They could see the most ancient manuscripts in our library, and in the reading room, they could see the books with the available of technologies. This excursion is designed for family pastime. Special attention is paid to the development of literature-oriented tours that attract attention to the library, popularize our collections, stimulate interest in reading, motivate the study of culture and language. 2016 saw the implementing the project of Slavuta Imena Batkovny, which is aimed at solving educational, patriotic, spiritual, and moral tasks. It is a series of interactive educational and informative excursions dedicated to the classic of Belarusian literature and culture figures. It is designed primarily for teachers and students of educational institutions. We are using different informational resources of the library. We're taking account the school program of general secondary education, and anniversaries of the Belarusian calendar are also taken into account. On the slide, you could see only some of the topics that are being developed now. The last of them is Polybольne Straty of Republic of Belarus, devoted to the Great Patriotic War. The project is being improved every year and it will include new personalities. So the users could visit the library every year and learn something new. They could learn information which is never repeated. The project Slavuta Imenka Batkovshchiny promotes the expansion of horizons, familiarization with the achievements of Belarusian culture, and also stimulates an increase in interest in reading and information culture of teenagers. The excursions of this project help consolidate the knowledge gained earlier in school, study new curriculum material, and are also a source of additional information. The use of interactive elements increases the motivation of students and contributes to the achievement of the goals of education and ideological work. Another promising form of work to introduce students to written culture is the quest excursion in search of the legacy of Francis Scarina, during which participants get acquainted with interesting facts from the life of Francis Scarina and the history of our country. At the end of this tour, a surprise awaits them, a certificate of completion of the quest and a climb to the observation deck. Tourists are particularly interested in the decoration of the library. The first two floors of the circular corridors host 36 works of art created especially for the library. The exposition of the first floor unites works dedicated to the development of the culture of Belarus from ancient times to the present day. The exposition of the second floor consists of the works of art dedicated to ethnography, folklore, which most vividly reflect the national identity of Belarusian people. In 2020, as part of the 100th anniversary of the library, an excursion, Belarus is My Love, was developed, during which tourists get acquainted with the history of Belarus, its traditions, the history of the library itself, using QR codes through the decoration. One more excursion activity that we are now working on is the tour in the collection fund. In conclusion, the excursion activity of the library, being the most prominent component of sociocultural activity, makes a huge impact to the development of tourist activity in Belarus. It forms a positive tourist image of our country, and the library has become one of the tourist symbols and brands of our capital. Thank you for your attention. We will be happy to see you at our library. Thank you for your invitation. We would be happy to see you. We hope to see you too. Now I would like to invite the next presenter, Daria Khadzeeva, head of the Special Programs Group and of Excursion and Methodological Activities of the Russian State Library.
Слышно меня, скажите, пожалуйста?
Hello, can you hear me? Yes, we
Отлично.
do.
Так, я сейчас тогда переключусь на презентацию.
So now
Вы
I'm
тоже скажите, видно
sharing
меня,
my
да?
screen. Please tell me if you can see it.
Сейчас. Видно экран с презентацией?
Can you see my screen? Yes, we
Вот
do.
так, да, вот, может быть, будет получше. Здравствуйте, дорогие коллеги. Вот я хотела, может быть, только прокомментировать
Greetings, dear colleagues. I would like to comment on the previous presentation on the symbol of Minsk. Recently, I was walking and I saw a lorry with its symbol, and the picture of it was on the back of this lorry. So I guess it really is a symbol of the city. And as for me, I would like to tell you about the tour excursion of our library, the Russian State Library, how it works and how we work on it today. I'm mostly talking about the commercial projects, not tours for colleagues who are on business trips, and not for the readers who are exploring it for the first time. These excursions are still conducted in our library and they are okay. But today I would like to talk about the commercial projects, the paid projects. It is a new project. It's about 10 years, and it is the main topic of my talk today. So I will talk about the three elements. First of all is the interest of the client. The next is the huge diversity of programs tailored to different age groups and opportunities, financial opportunities, and different time spans from 9 to 11 p.m. Well, we have a day off only on Monday, sometimes Sunday, but not always. So what we're trying to do is analyze, sometimes predict our customers' interests. One important thing is the how convenient it is to buy a ticket and to come to the library on a weekday or at the weekend. So I would like to tell why people are willing to pay to look at the books in the reading rooms. It's maybe tempting to tell that how we succeeded at the development, how my colleagues and I are developing it, that we did a good job. But however, I have to admit, right now, it is the society itself that is interested. There is a demand from the society willing to pay and look at the ancient libraries. We're living in a very unusual time. Everyone needs a guide to the library. Comparing my parents, for example, and their generation, it would be hard to imagine them coming to the library, looking for information for their theses, educational materials. And even today, my mom doesn't understand what am I doing in the library. She thinks that I'm reading lectures. But the current generations are living in a different paradigm, and reading is now a mass culture. And of course, it influences the perception of things. So I think the image of library is a bit romanticized. It is now the idol of society, just like an actor. And it is so tempted and intriguing. And it is also mentioned in the popular cinema, where characters solve riddles and secrets in the libraries, solve some mysteries, create some philosophical questions. I can't but mention Hogwarts and Harry Potter, where they make magical potions, or the famous witch from a popular TV series, where she found a manuscript, but the thing is that that book spawns there just for the witch itself by magic. And as for Harry Potter, it was filmed in the famous Hogwarts Bavarian Library. And of course, readers are so interested in. I'm not taking the weak part of scenario. Of, I'm sorry, but we can't see your demonstration slides, I'm afraid. We just see this. Oh, that's a pity. I had so wonderful books for you. Maybe I could integrate a new presentation for you. Yes, please wait a little bit. What exactly can you see now? we only see the first slides and the name and your presentation in the editing mode.
А вот так не видно, если
Yeah.
просто без
How about
видимости?
now?
Да, дальше. Просто бывает, конечно, такие загвоздки, к сожалению, случаются.
Well,
Ну,
I'm
видите,
sorry
вот,
for
например,
technical
весьма
difficulties.
поверхностно, как
So
видно.
that was the wish I was talking about.
Вы можете в целом еще раз попробовать это.
А,
Ну,
You could
сейчас
try
видно
again.
свет? Вот
Well, how about now? Can you
слабый
see it
экран.
now?
вот, спасибо.
Yes, we
Извините
do.
за то, что вас прервала.
Yes.
Нет,
Sorry for
есть спасибо,
interrupting.
да, или
No,
хотели
that's
добавить что-то?
okay.
Вот.
Thank you for
Так вот,
mentioning.
наша библиотека, в общем, тоже
So,
может похвастать
our
довольно
library
богатым.
can boast a huge
И что касается мистики,
filmography.
дело в том, что
And
библиотеки, к
as
сожалению, сейчас
for
очень в тренде.
some mystics,
Про нас сняли
since
документальный
libraries
под
are in trend
названием
now,
«Опасный переулок».
there is a detective
И
filmed
главным
about us,
подозреваемым в убийстве читателя
and
оказывается
the
гений
main
библиотеки.
suspect
Это
is the ghost
коллекционер
of the
Николай
library.
Александрович
It is the
Рублев.
ghost
Вот
of
собрал
a
мы
famous
библиотеку
collectioner
давно. Вот смотрите, уже почти
whose
век Николай
collection we
Александрович
possess in
живет
our
в Лондоне,
library.
аж
So
счастливый.
he is already dead
Так
now,
наша
but
библиотека отражает
there are
человечество в
films
фильме «Фантом»,
being shot about
когда
him.
Земля захвачена
There's also
инопланетянами,
another
и
film,
искали
Phantom,
единственную цитадель, где еще
and
хранится покой и
the
мистические люди, это
whole
Британская
world
библиотека.
was
Вот слайды, которые,
infected,
надеюсь, сейчас вы
and
видите,
the only
это рисунки
citadel
с нашей
of
главной лестницы, где герои
safety was
демонстрируют
our
и
library.
отмечают
You could see the
маршрут
character
передвижения.
looking at the
Но, конечно,
maps,
главный фильм для библиотеки —
charting
это
some
«Москва
escape
слезам не
routes.
верит». Для
And of
россиян
course,
известно,
the
поясню, что это
famous
советский фильм,
Russian film,
получивший премию «Оскар».
uh,
Он был
a
неимоверно
Soviet
популярен и
film. It
цитирует
gained an
все гимны.
Oscar and was
Вот в
extremely
этом кино сыграла
popular,
наша
and
героиня.
it has lots
Героиня
of
получила премию
references in
«Самостоятельная звезда»
culture.
из
According
Академии
to it,
профессиональных
the
искусств.
female
Так вот, этот
character
фильм — в
wanted
этом смысле
to meet
болевая точка.
a
Потому что
well-affluent
здесь
person,
рассказывается
and she
история
went to the
о
library
именно
specifically
том
for
столе, за
this.
которым сидела ее
And
подруга.
during the
Мы рассказываем
excursions,
это
we
больше
pay
по
attention
семейным
that
интересам.
this is that
Остальное
table
можно
where
упустить,
the
но
main
сказать,
female
что,
character
конечно
was
же,
sitting.
в принципе, очень много
That's the
чего
only thing they're
удовлетворяет.
usually interested in during that
Но
excursion.
что
Just
касается
this is the
детей,
table, and
которые
that's it.
ни один из этих фильмов не смотрели,
As for the
наша
kids
экскурсия
who
интересна
never
не меньше
saw any of
библиотеки.
those
Она
films,
пролетает тоже через массу
we also
событий,
have an
которые в
excursion,
мультфильме
which is also devoted to mass
ну,
pop
описаны.
culture,
Не так
devoted
давно у
to
нас в экскурсии
cinema,
была
games.
внучка советского
Um,
геолога. Она сразу
some time
сказала, что
ago, we
увидела
have
фильм
a
«Советский геолог».
granddaughter
Я
of the
подписалась
famous
на эту серию
Soviet
рассказов про
geologist, and she
геологов.
mentioned
Здесь
one
красавица
cartoon,
справа, вы как раз видите
and I
тоже
found it. You can
библиотеку
see it on
в
the
этом
slide. Here's
мультфильме.
the
Это
image
мультфильм
of the
«Спасибо,
library.
папуль», где волшебники попадают в
Here you can see the
библиотеку, и
pictures
потом
from it.
творится
The,
что-то
the
необъяснимое. А случай
witches
просто
get into
взрывается,
this
и все.
library,
То
and
есть
some
это
chaos is
как
happening in
портрет
it, and the
библиотекаря в
whole world
советской
goes
жизни
crazy.
целого города.
And
И ребенок после просмотра этого
the
мультфильма
atmosphere in
ожидает
the
продолжения от
library
нашей библиотеки. И
influences
все
everything that's
мультфильм
happening in
герои
the world.
сомневаются, кому вообще нужна
Uh,
библиотека, когда есть
in the
электронный
beginning of
киоск.
the film,
Кто
the
попадает в
characters
библиотеку,
are
одна из них восклицает: вот это
not
да,
knowing
это
whether it
оказывается
is the
круто.
library
Вот лучше делиться
that
опытом
is
и
the most
помощью
important,
вместе с
and then they
экскурсантами.
understand
Ну
that
и в
only with the
завершение
help of the
небольшой
library they
подборка
can solve the
киноигры,
puzzle
декорации которой
and
созданы
save the world.
дизайнерами на основе наших
The
материалов.
decorations
Современный школьник попадает на эти
in
полки
another
полно
film
часов,
were
разноцветной
created
мощной посыпки,
based on our
экспрессии
interior
потрясающих
library,
героинь.
and it is a
Рассказывается вдруг
source of
героиня
different
бесконечно
jokes.
ходит
Sometimes our
какими-то вот
students tell us
заклинаниями,
that
как
they
Каганцов,
take up
потому
to
что это
6 hours to
названная в игре
find their way in
вещь
our
не
library
существует
halls.
на самом деле.
So,
И
and
они
the
пытаются
game I'm
справиться с
referencing
загадкой,
now
как
in the
мир
slides was
заклятий.
based on the
То есть,
interior of
разумеется,
this
можно было бы вспоминать и
um,
дальше. Мы вместе с
on
вами собрали
on this
небольшую
game.
подборку образов библиотеки
And we
в
had a
нашем
collection
интерактивном
of
пространстве. Но
character
на конце
designs
мы все это вспоминаем.
based on our
Что я
interior.
хотела сказать, что под
And
воздействием в том числе
what also I would like to mention
видеоконтента
that
люди идут в
this
библиотеку
video content
посмотреть.
is
То есть
another thing
с
why
скаковым
people
прыжком
go to the
посетители
library
экскурсии становятся не сходить в
just out of
библиотеку почитать,
curiosity.
а
So they
сходить
don't only go to
посмотреть.
the
И
library
это посмотреть
to
можно быть
read,
и разным.
but
Оказаться
also to
вместе с кем-то с
watch.
любимым
And
фильмом,
this
идем в
watching can be
библиотечный
different.
день,
Maybe they wanted to see
но
a
открыть
prototype of
библиотеку
their
будет не так,
favorite
как
game
пострелять из пулемета
character
страшной в
and
компьютерной
to
игре.
see
Вы
if they
знаете, что
really
каждый
are
пример
that way
такой
as they are in
истории
the
построения
game, or they
библиотек
want to see
воспринимаются
a
не только как
famous cartoon or
хранительницы
film
знаний, но и как
character,
архитектурные
and
объекты
to
важнейших дворцов
soak in the
Советского Союза.
atmosphere
Но какой бы ни был
to
изначальный
of a
запрос, мы, конечно,
Soviet
всегда подмешиваем в него
of
свое,
Soviet
так сказать,
style.
приворотное зелье.
And of course, we can't help but show what we boast, our collections, our building. We try to share emotions from it. This is our website. We now have 18 tours, and we hope to develop it further. They show the diversity of our collections. Some come to look at the masterpieces of printed books. Some wanted to see how conveyor and mail works, and some want to um, some people want just to soak up in the atmosphere. You could buy the ticket on the website or at the library itself. And these are the feedbacks from our readers, and all of them start with the words, "So I went to the excursion." And so first they decide to go on the excursion, and then they uh, put an application for the ticket. And I really am happy that this helps to popularize our library in the younger generations too. In conclusion, I would like to say that this is what I usually do. I do this strange cross-marketing thing. And for example, I talk about the conveyor belt, and then I cite the Belarusian library, and I say, "Oh, do you know what National Library of Russia looks like? It really is amazing." So people are so interested in not only our place, they become inspired, and I am happy about it that we share different publics and different people, and we could popularize excursions. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Daria. That really is very interesting. Now we want to visit you. We're always happy to see you. Thank you. It really is great. Now, unfortunately, we can't hear the Jordan presenter because they can't connect for some reason. I'm talking about the Director General of the Department of the National Library of Jordan. I guess they have some technical issues. So if you don't mind, we would invite the next participant, which is Marina, who is Marina Sukhareva, head of the Bibliographic Information Services Department, Mayakovsky Central City Public Library. The topic of your presentation is Library as a Subject and Object of Excursion Work. Thank you for being with us. Hello, can you hear me? Greetings, dear colleagues. Thank you for inviting me and for this opportunity to participate in this seminar. And I would like to present my presentation today. Here is my screen. I hope it's going to be okay. Can you see it? Please tell me. Yes, we can see it. Thank you. So excursions are a popular form of work within the framework of cultural, educational work of the libraries, and our library, of course, too. I will allow myself to cite some theses that, in my opinion, explain the popularity of this form of work. First, the excursion is a visual process of cognition. The priority of visual perception, which is accompanied by the necessary verbal commentary. Two, excursions are a specific type of communication, subject of which is the values of culture that are significant for tourists and guides. And a tourist, especially in the modern library, is a very active participant of the process. Mayakovsky Library actively uses the excursion form of work in practice. In our library, it can be divided into two directions. First, as the base of excursion work, and second, as the object of excursion work. I will make only a brief comment on the first direction. This work is mainly of library as a base, as a foundation, of local history nature, when guides, historians, city enthusiasts, local historians gather in the library or making some experimental tours. We are inviting different categories of people. This is a very promising activity, and we are engaged in the exchange of this experience. However, today I chose another direction for my presentation. It is the library as the object of excursion work, and we strive to develop the interest to reading. The objects can be different: professional, educational, cultural, and etc. We are developing these directions, but it is subjective. It's not only the history of library, but also the biography of its workers, of literature spaces, technologies, informational library, and book collections. Our library takes part in municipal projects focused on history and culture connected with the library. Those are the Day of the House and a project called Open City. Open City is a joint project of the St. Petersburg City branch of the Russian Society for the Protection of Historical and Cultural Monuments and the Committee for State Control, Use and Protection of Historical Cultural Monuments, implemented with the support of the government of St. Petersburg. One of the excursions that was developed by the library is held within this framework and is called the Library St. Petersburg. It is a bus sightseeing thematic tour at the same time, lasting for a very long time, 4 or 5 hours, depends on the traffic jams. During this excursion, tourists visit up to 3 libraries. You can see it's the Russian Academy of Sciences, Scientific Library, Presidential Library, Scientific Library, the Hermitage Library, the Russian National Library, State Theatre Library of St. Petersburg, and of course, our library, the collection in Russian language, and the library called Nevsky Art. The second project we're taking part in is a socio-cultural project, the House Day. It is held since 2023. So we conducted it on the 23rd, 24th of September, which is not quite long ago. And 97 libraries and 18 museums took part in it. I can't tell you the exact number because we are still counting. But nevertheless, the excursions and tours being conducted in all of these neighborhoods, museums, libraries, there is a really big thing going on. And we have audio and video format. And these are the routes which you can use or share with your friends. The next part, the excursions devoted to our own projects. Our library is housed in several buildings. We have 9 buildings in different parts of the city. 2 of our libraries are housed in historic buildings. I must mention that they are in historic constructions. And the library as an excursion object for this kind of library, it's very important because it plays an important role in the presentation of the library, because they're inscribed in the historical context of the urban environment. So we talk about 3 different routes in our tour. The Secrets of Old Farm State, the Library of the Future Today, and the Mansion of the Countess Karlova. And of course, we are familiarizing with different parts and complexes of this library. Each of them has some peculiar exhibits or unusual topic. For example, in one of the libraries, we got ourselves an organ which came here from the Netherlands. It is the organ of 1910. And I have to say that the excursion of these objects is contributed by the playing on this organ. I'm afraid you can't access the QR code on this screen, but all of our participants and guests use this QR code to listen to the organ when they come home or during the excursion. The another object here is the main building of the Russian National Collection. It is a very interesting scenario about the transformation of historical monuments and the building during almost 300 years. It really is interesting. And besides the excursions we are conducting around the buildings, we also have the tours, as we call them, excursions in white gloves. Um, 3 departments are taking part in it: the Department of Rare Publications, the Department of Literature in Foreign Languages, and the Department of the Prince Golitsyn Memorial Library. At the next 3 slides, you could see a presentation of books which could be seen during these excursions. Here you can see the Rare Publications Department. Here you can see Cherkessov's library. Today is the 150th anniversary of this collection. We have some rare manuscripts, some very ancient documents, and the opportunity to familiarize with these rare editions in the Department of Rare Publications. The next, this is the Department of Foreign Languages, and the excursion is conducted in historic interiors of famous Russian people. And the 2 participants are familiarized with their history. This is Prince Golitsyn's Memorial Library. Is it also a department of our library? It has excursions. Well, I mean, for the Memorial Library, these rare editions are quite rare, and we have a guide who is an expert on these rare editions. So, in conclusion, I would like to say that the excursion work of the library explores the positive image of the reader. And here on the slides, you can see the feedback of a tour participant, which happened a week ago. And in this feedback, you could see the person saying that I will sign up for the library right now. So you could see that there's not the only person there, and we have great results. Excursions are very knowledge-packed and they are modern. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Marina. We were at your library, and we can admit that it really is interesting and highly informative. Thank you for working in that way with your participants. and with those who come to you not only as users, but also as tour participants. Now we are giving the word to our next presenter, the Brazil's library, Natalia Dietrich Yedamontes Singlis Neves, the excursion sector of the National Library of Brazil. And the topic is building bridges between past, present, and future, the guided tours in the National Library of Brazil.
Hi, is everyone hearing us?
Yes.
Yes. I think so.
Sem dúvida.
Okay, so we'll start sharing our screen, okay? Okay.
Hi, good morning and afternoon to everyone. We are Natalia, Ieda, and Gleice, and we work in the guided tour section of the Brazilian National Library. Before we start talking about our routines and activities as guides, we thought about giving you a general view of our institution.
So the National Library of Brazil is the oldest cultural institution in the country since its foundation in 1810 by the Portuguese regent Prince Dom João. At that time, we started with a collection of 60,000 pieces, and nowadays we have already surpassed the quantity of 10 million documents in our collections. This circumstance makes us the biggest library in Latin America and one of the largest national libraries in the world. This is precisely one of the reasons why we feel very honored to be here today with you, sharing a little bit of what we do and how we do it, considering this really extraordinary and very peculiar history of our library. Okay, so moving on to what actually makes us being here now, we organized our presentation with some direct and objective questions to lead us through our main subjects. So the first question is, how can people visit our library? The visitor has the option to choose between a free tour or a guided tour. Both of them are free of charge. The first alternative is basically when the visitor chooses to visit the building without the orientation of a guide. And for the guided tour, it's necessary to schedule in advance. And we have 5 timetables available from Mondays to Fridays, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we work with a maximum of 15 people per group. And the tour is usually 30 to 40 minutes long, and they are available in Portuguese, English, and Spanish. And since August, the library started to offer the guided tour in Libras, which is the Brazilian Sign Language, and it is a big win for us because now we can offer more accessible and inclusive work. Actually, when it comes to accessibility, the library has been constantly adapting its services to become able to serve people with all kinds of disabilities. And this means we offer exhibitions with audio description, braille materials, elevators, and we also make our exhibitions available online, allowing people from other cities, states, and even countries to access them. The second question is actually, who does visit the library? There are no age restrictions here, and our public is actually very diverse. Also, there's no need to be part of a specific group to schedule a guided tour here. So if someone is by themselves and if they ask for a guided tour, they can schedule it and we will do it independently on how many people are with them. They can be by themselves. We also receive lots of groups from schools, universities, and NGOs. And according to the data that we've been collecting since 2018, we tend to receive more public institutions from basic education.
So what do our guided tours consist of, or what do we talk about in these guided tours?
In order to serve this large diversity of public, we are also a multi-diverse team with contributors from different areas of knowledge, such as anthropology, history, literature, tourism, and social science. And the tours, they basically spoke about the same aspects and subjects of the library, like historically, culturally, socially, and legally, but they will be narrated from different point of views, especially when it comes to our intellectual backgrounds. That's why they are all the same in the basis, but at the same time, they are very different from each other.
Of course, depending on the group of visitors, we will adapt some themes and subjects to talk to them about. For instance, when dealing with a group of librarians, we tend to focus our tours on cataloging, archive management, and preservation and restoration matters. On the other hand, when talking to teenagers, we tend to emphasize more social historical aspects of our institution that may be on their vestibular exams. The fourth aspect of our presentation is the data and future projects. Since 2018, so 5 years ago, we have received more than 360,000 visitors here at the institution. We also count the realization of more than 4,000 guided tours and more than 40,000 participants in them. Actually, in the first week of this year, we got more than 8,000 visitors here. So it was a big thing to us. Of course, actually, there are always lots of things to improve, and some of them to us are: number one, our current challenge involves bringing together the academic backgrounds of each staff member and the potential for new additions to the guided tour script. For instance, we can mention the research projects we've been working on particularly, such as the itinerary for a tour of the architecture and the artwork of the building, one script about Brazilian literature and another about the history of science. And furthermore, we are enhancing our knowledge to concentrate on specific groups, such as library science and students and children.
So another aspect for us that is really important is to focus on the development of our team, since the importance of the institution to the country's cultural and intellectual context. So we've been working in workshops to guide our staff on the professional tools and also academic tools to develop academic research. We have 2 interns working with us in our program, the internship program of the sector. And since the beginning of this year, we are working with them to provide the tools and also the experience they need to leave the program better than when they started.
We aim to bridge the gap between the past, present, and the future for those who enter in the institution. Every visitor is a potential researcher and a reader under construction. So our mission is to ensure that the guided tour at the National Library Foundation will plant seeds for a future full of books and knowledge.
Thank you for your attention. See you soon. Let me just see.
Замечательно, спасибо вам огромное, что вы приняли.
That was great. Thank you so much for taking part in our participation. You opened our eyes to a library that is situated so far away. We really now want to get to you into your place. Now we are inviting the next presenter, Pavle Kosic, the Information Services Librarian from Qatar National Library. His presentation is Guided Tours in Qatar National Library, Perspectives from the Public Services Department. You're welcome.
Very good afternoon to you. Hope that you can hear me.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I will just upload my presentation. Just give me 1 second. Are you able to see it?
Презентацию не видно. Нет.
I can't see it yet. Now we do.
Okay, great. I will start now. Okay, so good afternoon once again. Greetings from Doha, from Qatar. Today I will be talking about how we do our guided tours in Qatar National Library, and I will give you more perspectives from the Public Services Department where I am coming from. So just to give you the content of this presentation, I will give you some mission and vision statement from our Qatar National Library. I will speak more about our facilities that are included in our tours. I will be talking also about the types of tours and types of visitors, or the groups of visitors that are visiting our library. And at the end, I will talk about some lessons that we learned along the way. Okay, so Qatar National Library is fairly new national library. We were opened in 2018. Our vision for this national institution is to be one of the world's preeminent centers of learning, research and culture, and a guardian of the region's heritage, and the institution that promotes imagination, discovery, and the nourishment of the human spirit. Our mission is to preserve the nation's and region heritage and enable the people of Qatar to positively influence society by creating an exceptional environment for learning and discovery. Qatar National Library will achieve its mission by creating and sustaining an intuitive and trusted information environment in a culturally and technologically exceptional setting by developing innovative programs and other services. So when we are talking about the tours, we have a couple of categories of the tours that we are doing in Qatar National Library. It is also important for me to mention here that we are the National Library of the state of Qatar, but we also serve as a metropolitan library and also as the university or academic library as well. So in a way, we combine all of these three main functions, although the national library function is the one that we are mostly focused on. So here in this table, you can see several types of tours that we are doing in Qatar National Library with audience and with the types of guides that are doing the library. And as well here, you can see the content that is covered in each and every type of tour. So the first type of tour that we are doing is what we call general library tour, and as a guide in this type of tour, we are including the librarians, so the staff of the library. We are also including the event staff if the library is if the tour is related to a specific event that is happening at the moment. Then we also have library assistants, we have management of Qatar National Library, and we have Qatar Tourism Authority as our partner in doing this tour. The audience that is present in this general library tour type is general public and also VIPs, which include heads of states, ambassadors, other VIP visitors, and so on. Content that is usually covered during this tour is the overall design of the building with a short history of building. Then it is covering technical features of the library and facilities and services that are including research centers, other services like writing consultations, innovation stations, assistive technology center, and study and research areas. Later on, I will show you some pictures and I will speak about each one of these. The next type of tour is the Heritage Library tour, where we are taking our visitors to visit the Heritage Library, which is one of the biggest heritage libraries in the region of Middle East. We have some of the oldest Arabic manuscripts, as well as the biggest collection of Quran books in the building in the world. Guides in this type of tour are heritage library staff. Then we have again general public and VIPs. Content that is covered is heritage collection, highlights, and heritage library reading room. Then the next type is the exhibition tour, which is related to exhibitions that are currently going on in the Qatar National Library. So, of course, guides would be usually exhibition creators, and audience would be specially invited guests. And content that is covered is an overview of a current exhibition and its content and features. Then we have something that we call the researchers or researcher tour. Guides are librarians, and this tour is very important to us as public services and as a excuse me, and as a research and learning team, because we are focusing on university students as our audience group and other professional researchers. We also have staff, so librarians that are coming from different areas of knowledge. So we have historians, we have psychologists, we have people who are studying literature, and so we have a wide variety of subjects that are covered here. So we are able to provide the students with research support. Usually during these tours, we are demonstrating to students on how they can access the printed materials and the vast collection of the electronic databases that we are offering access to. And also we are putting the emphasis on writing consultations and other research-related services that we have in the library. And the last type of the tour that we have is the Children's and Young Adults Library Tour, that is specifically focused on grade 1 to 12 students and their teachers. And the guides will be our staff from Children and Young Adults section of the library. And the content that is covered in this type of tour is Children and Young Adults collection. And as we have special section in the library that is related to children and young adults, and we also have children's and young adults program information that is included in this type of tour. Here are some of the statistics for the year of 2022. So you can see the distribution of the visitors and the number of tours and number of visitors related to each one of these specific tour types. We have public tours, we have arranged tours, we have exhibition-related tours, and the tours, we put it here as a separate type, the tours that are handled by the Qatar Tourism Authority, as they are, let's say, complementary tours that with their other tours that they are doing that are related to Qatar. Some lessons that we learned across this pathway of doing the tours is that we try to tailor our tours according to target groups. And we are trying to listen to our audience and serve the needs of our community, which I will just mention is very diverse. So we need to study and specifically tailor these groups to each specific group of visitors. and we are trying to make services and facilities accessible to everyone. So I will show you quickly some pictures of the facilities that I previously mentioned, and they're included in our tour. So this is our Qatar National Library building. This is the interior of the library, and as of today, we are hosting around 1.2 millions of books, of only printed books that are for all ages. We also, of course, this number does not include the vast collection of the electronic resources that we offer to our visitors. This is the picture of some of our reading and studying spaces in the library. This is a specially designed room that we call the Assistive Technology Center. And in this room, we are trying to accommodate people with special needs. This is our special events area where we are hosting different lectures and events. Just recently, we started with a new series of concerts done by Qatar Philharmonic Orchestra. So in this specially designed room, it is very acoustic, so it is in a way very interesting to host the concerts in this place. This is the picture from one of our exhibitions. So when we have these exhibition-related tours, we are taking our visitors to specially designed places in the library that is hosting the specific tour. And we are trying to provide almost all content that we have in the library is bilingual. As a national library, of course, we are trying to put an emphasis on Arabic language, but considering the population here and diversity of the population, we have everything in English and Arabic as well. That's it from my side. Thank you for having me today. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Спасибо большое. Очень интересно было узнать о такой.
Thank you very much. It was really interesting to know about such a young, new, but also promising library. Thank you very much. The next presentation is from our colleagues from China. However, unfortunately, they only give us video materials. Unfortunately, the time zones won't allow them to take part in our conference in person. So that's why. The presenter is the curator of the Capital Library of China, Mao Yejun. And here we can see the video material demonstrated on our screen. Please, you're welcome.
大家好，我今天呢分享的题目是探索与实践城市文化利用中的图书馆。首都图书馆呢始建于1913年，至今呢已经有110年的历史了，收藏了各类文献，已经将近了970万册件。那今年也就是我们的2023年，首都图书馆呢新馆将会对外开放。我们的这个馆舍的总面积将会达到近17万平方米。那么拥有着这样好的一个客观条件，我们如何引领我们的公众走进图书馆，建立城市文化与市民生活之间的连接，切身的感受现代城市中文化的活力，是首都图书馆一直以来探索的问题。下面呢我将就首都图书馆这个方面的经验与大家进行交流，主要是分这样3个方面。第一个方面呢，我们称之为行走的北京城，就是带您走进身边的公共文化设施。首都图书馆行走的北京城这样的一个项目呢， 它是立足于北京城市的公共文化资源，采取呢预约登记、主题导览这样的一些方式，来带领我们的读者认识身边的公共文化设施。我们有2个专题的项目，一个呢是首都图书馆认知图书馆，还一个呢是我身边的古籍这样2个专题项目。它呢是由不同的专业图书馆员带领我们不同的群体的读者，依据这种菜单式的定制线路来了解图书馆的资源和服务，得到了非常好的一个效果。行走的北京城除了在图书馆之外，它还与博物馆相结合。比如说，我们就和国子监，它既是首图的这个原来的馆址，同时它也是中国唯一一个保存完整的古代的最高学府进行合作。我们举办了像太学制书、国子监里的赛书节等等这样的活动，由我们的专业馆员就是带领我们的读者来走进国子监，来了解我们的国子监。通过现场，比如说做一些雕版印刷，做一些线装书，那来传播呢我们古籍保护和非遗技艺的这个同时，也实现了我们2所公共文化服务机构的这种资源的一个共享。那么未来首都图书馆还将会与更多这种文化机构来探索推广这样一种模式。第2个呢，我们把它称之为移动的图书馆。那我们也知道数字平台的导览资源与服务，数字平台它在这个空间性、时效性上的这种优势，得到了越来越多读者的青睐。首都图书馆呢，它通过移动的 App、我们的微信、我们的官方网站来开展我们数字资源的服务与导览，称之为不打烊的7×24小时的这样的一个公共文化服务。截止到2022年，我们的移动平台用户量达到了27.2万人，线上的这种数据库有105个。那我们的数字资源总量也是超过了600多个 TB。那我们面向不同的群体呢，也会有不同的这样的一个资源的服务。比如说我们面向专业读者，那么专业的学术数据库资源，它就包括了有这种10几个内容。比如说我们的北京记忆网站提供的地方文献类的数字资源有30多个 TB。那我们的金石拓片有1400多种，我们北京的这个方志有600余种。首都图书馆收藏的关于北京的方志是最全的，所有的方志我们全部都有收藏。特别珍贵的一些历史的地图，还有珍贵的照片、老照片有近5000余幅。那历史照片我们现在已经实现了网上全文能够免费阅览，内容呢仍然也在不断的更新当中。古籍真善本的这个知识库，包括我们的戏曲知识图谱的知识库等等这样一些数据库，来打造了我们古籍的这种多媒体的展览展示我们多渠道的多终端的这样的一些传播平台。那么面向大众读者我们会上线一些这个报纸期刊数据库，包括一些视听的资源库文化展览等等。那首图呢有非常珍贵的黑胶的这些资源，那我们现在把它全部数字化之后，都通过网上能够浏览视听，来满足我们休闲文化娱乐的一些需求。2022年呢，我们还举办了很多的线上活动整个一年线上的活动有500多场。那我们有接近1400万的人来参与了我们这些线上的活动，特别是像我们和新加坡国家图书馆一起合作的双城往事的这样一个展览，是展示了我们2个馆馆藏的这种城市记忆的这样的一些资料。未来非常好，让大家对2个城市都有了非常深刻的一个印象和了解。那未来呢，我们也希望能与更多的这种国际的图书馆来合作开展此类文化互动。古籍的这种线上的展览也是结合我们的馆藏融入了我们的游戏的因素，来宣传我们的这个传统的这种中华传统的藏书文化，来激发读者对于我们传统文化的这样的一些欣赏和探索的兴趣，也更多的来助力我们中华优秀的传统文化的传承和发展，让我们的5000文明不断的能够绵延下去。那我面向我们的这个少年儿童来建设我们的动画的主题数据库，截止到2023年的4月份呢，我们一共有14个主题， 有800多集，然后我们有3900多分钟，资源总量呢达到了500多个 GB，内容主要是涉及，比如说我们北京的胡同，我们北京的非物质文化遗产，包括我们的传统的美德修养，图书馆的信息素质教育等等，内容非常丰富。这种自主的知识产权的这种大型原创的动漫的数字资源，就是我们把它叫首图动漫在线。它是具备在国家级、省级电视台进行播出的这样一个资质。我们有2部系列动画片，一部呢叫《京味儿趣玩》，一部呢叫做《胡同漫游记》。这2部系列动画片都被国家广播电视总局推荐为优秀国产电视动画片。第3个方面呢，我们称之为多元化的互动，就全面的活化图书馆的推荐与导览。比如说我们在新馆划拨了1600多平米的这个面积来建设我们的非遗文献馆。那在非遗文献馆呢，会常年来开展这样一些非遗的体验和表演的活动，能够让我们的读者来了解图书馆的非遗资源和非遗保护工作的内容。那我们划拨了500平米，专门打造了我们的古籍修复和体验厅，来开放式的古籍修复工作间，向这个大众来展示古籍修复工作，让读者来了解图书馆古籍修复技艺。文化志愿者也是活跃在我们图书馆的这个各个角落，帮助我们的读者来了解和使用图书馆。老年群体信息素养的活动，来帮助我们的老年群体来掌握并且来使用现代的信息技术和设备。我们还特别编发了老年群体信息素养讲座培训手册。比如说像我们的这个新月书香项目，会帮助我们的视障人群来使用图书馆。我们有近10个现代化的展厅、报告厅。2022年呢，全年举办了文化活动700多场，也有将近1400万人来参与我们的各类的文化活动我们的文化讲座。通过呢这种生动亲和的方式，让读者呢来了解图书馆的资源和服务。我今天的这个报告的分享内容呢就到这儿。那我们的新馆，位于通州的新馆呢，今年年底将正式的来开放。那我们非常欢迎我们的各界的朋友能够走进我们通州的新馆来和我们进行更深入的交流和合作。好，谢谢大家。
Спасибо большое, очень полновесный информационный.
Thank you for so much for such informative video footage. It was a very nice presentation about this library. So, dear colleagues, I would like to thank you for participation in today's seminar. It will be on YouTube on our channel of the National Library of Russia. And we would like to ask you to share and inform the colleagues and anyone interested as much as possible about this seminar, and that you could access it on YouTube. Of course, today guided tours play an important role in creating a positive image of libraries, and they do create an important foundation. By the way, today is an International Day of Tourism, 23rd of September. So the libraries can now be considered full participants of this celebration. And again, I would like to thank everyone for everything. And I would like to add that 2 more seminars are planned. One seminar about personalities and libraries. Another is a conference about libraries on 3 continents. We are sending information materials on our future seminars, and we invite you to take part in it. I think today was a great experience and, of course, positive. I wish everyone creativity, success, good health, and of course, I hope to see you in our future sessions. Thank you so much.